Good morning. My name is Chris Graham, and I am the worship associate today. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the North Hills. Whether you have been with this church a decade or more, or this is your first time visiting, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, whatever your journey has been, we welcome you. Newcomers and guests are always welcome to participate in any of our church activities. If you'd like more information about our church or Unitarian Universalism, please talk to our minister, Reverend Jane Thickstun. You can find her contact information on our website. Be sure to join us for coffee hour following the service. The Zoom link will be posted in the YouTube chat at the end of the service. We will be breaking into small groups for better conversation. This week, you can connect with each other by Zoom for an informal chat on Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday night Vespers. Again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the North Hills. It is good to be together, even virtually.
Welcome. We offer our worship service for those who lived their lives in closets of shame, for those who furtively visited bars where nobody knew your name, for the Stonewall riot and the fierce trans women who fought, for the plague which still takes far too many, too young, too soon. So many gone. So many never lived to see out gay kids singing on TV, out gay people serving in the military, marriage equality, families formed by intention. We offer this worship service for all these and for our siblings of the rainbow, surviving, living life out in the open with pride. Come, let us worship together.
We light this flame to ignite our hearts and minds, the spark of knowledge that enlightens, the shimmering hope that burns, the blazing love that engulfs our actions, the bonfire of our commitment. We light this flame for those who celebrate themselves, who fear, who hope, who persevere, who stand on the side of love for all. We light this flame for those who have been ridiculed, that they may find peace, for those who have fought to marry, that they may celebrate, for those who live in uncertainty in the world, that they may have hope. We light this flame to renew our commitment that no one shall ever again suffer for the right to love. We light this flame to celebrate our kaleidoscope of diversity, working, loving, and living on the side of love. For this, we light this flame.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Hi, I'm Chris Hill with the Lay Pastoral Care Team. During our service, we create this sacred space for sharing within our community. It's a time to share significant life passages with the congregation so you can be held in loving care. I'll be reading the joys and sorrows this morning. We'll be placing a stone representing each joy or sorrow in the sand, representing our congregation, supporting the sorrows and lifting up the joys. Jan Ridnauer, a longtime member of UUCNH and former director of Bellwood, passed away on September 26th. Her son Glenn said her family was with her at the peaceful end. The family is planning on an outdoor memorial in the spring because Jan so loved the outdoors. To Jan's family, we say, we hold you in our hearts. Mary Ellen Johnson has a sorrow. I will be having surgery tomorrow for breast cancer, after which they will determine if I will need additional treatment. The good in this has been my many wonderful friends, especially those at UUCNH. They have been by my side for the last few difficult months. They have given me support, cheered me on, kept me active, and made me laugh. This is a wonderful community. To Mary Ellen, we say, we hold you in our hearts. Sarah and Lance Kennelty have a sorrow. Our daughter, Brianne Kennelty, who grew up in UUCNH, lost a baby in early September. Sarah said, "Our hearts are broken, but we are supporting Bree and Justin as best we can." They have been helped by Emma's Footprints, an Erie organization that helps pregnancy and infant loss families. To Sarah, Lance, Bree, and Justin, we say, we hold you in our hearts. Dennis Doubleday has a sorrow. My uncle, Glenn Rooker, passed away at the age of 90 and was laid to rest last Monday, with many family and friends at the outdoor graveside service. He lived his entire life in Tuttle, Oklahoma, a wheat farmer and cattle rancher of a small place of about 220 acres, owned by his father previously. He was a good-hearted man who would help anybody in need, and I have a lot of happy memories of summer vacations and family reunions at his ranch. To Dennis and his uncle's family, we say, we hold you in our hearts. We now place one more stone in the sand for all the joys and sorrows that exist in our hearts but remain unspoken today. We especially think of everyone suffering, directly or indirectly, from this COVID-19 pandemic. Please read with me the words appearing on the screen, understanding that here includes all those watching. Let us hold in our circle of caring each person here. Let us hold in our hearts those who are unable to be with us today. Let us hold in our memories those who have moved on. Let us find comfort in knowing that we are not alone.
Now we have a story for everyone. Red, a Crayon story. It's written by Michael Hall and published by Green Willow Books. As told by me. He was red, but he wasn't very good at it.
Oh dear.
His teacher thought he needed more practice.
I'll draw a red strawberry. Then you draw a red strawberry. You can do this, really.
But he couldn't really.
Like this?
Oh my. Let's try again.
His mother thought he needed to mix with other colors.
Why don't you two go out and draw a nice round orange?
A really big one.
A really orange one.
But they made a big greenish one.
Yuck!
Oops.
His grandparents thought he wasn't warm enough.
Your class is making self-portraits for Parents' Night. Wear this warm red scarf.
Nice. It's so you.
But it so wasn't.
Oh dear me.
Everyone seemed to have something to say.
Sometimes I wonder if he's really red at all.
Don't be silly. It says red on his label.
He came that way from the factory.
Frankly, I don't think he's that bright.
Well, I think he's lazy.
Right. He's got to press harder.
Really apply himself.
Give him time. He'll catch on.
Of course he will.
But he didn't catch on.
Green frog.
Black sheep.
Brown cow.
A red egg.
All the art supplies wanted to help. The masking tape thought he was broken inside.
This'll hold you together.
The scissors thought his label was too tight.
One snip should do it.
I thought he wasn't sharp enough. Stay still now. But even with all our help and all his hard work, he just couldn't get the hang of it. One day, he met a new friend.
Will you make me a blue ocean for my boat?
I can't. I'm red.
Will you try?
So he did.
Thank you. It's perfect.
You're welcome. It was easy.
And he didn't stop there.
Blue bells, blue bird, blueberries, blue jeans, blue whale.
I'm blue.
He was blue, and everyone was talking.
My son is so brilliant.
Who could have known he was blue?
I always said he was blue.
It was obvious.
His blue ocean really lifted me.
All of his work makes me happy.
His blue strawberries are my favorites.
He's so intense.
I'm gonna make a green lizard with him, a really big one.
I hear he's working on a huge new project.
He's really reaching for the sky.
And he really was.
I invite you now to join me in a spirit of meditation or prayer. So please settle in a little more comfortably. Close your eyes if you wish. Just relax into this sacred space that you are in. And breathe deeply. Breathe out slowly. Breathing in compassion. Breathing out peace. Blessed are the wanderers seeking affirmation. Blessed are the worshipers praying from closets, pulpits, pews, and hardship. Blessed are the lovers of leaving family and familiarity, leaving tables where love is not being served. Blessed are those who stay. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the queer disciples of truth, living, breathing, sacred reflections of divine love. Let us pause for a few moments in silent reflection.
Today's reading is called Yes, There's No Binary by David Breeden. It's from the worship web of the Unitarian Universalist Association. The road not taken is not a fork. That's too simple a thought, flipping some coin, either or. Nope, it's not this or that, no or yes. It's not neither, and all of the above and more. The road taken goes every way at once. There. They, them, go, now, live.
I am the very model of a modern Unitarian, far broader than a Catholic, Hindu, Jew, or Presbyterian. I know the world's religions and can trace their roots historical, from Moses up through Channing, all in order categorical. I'm very well acquainted too with theories theological. On existential questions I am always wholly logical. About most any problem I am teeming with a lot of views. I'm full of fine ideas that should fill our church's empty pews. Quote from Freud and Jung and all those experts psychological. I'm anti-nuke, I don't pollute, I'm chastely ecological. In short, in matter spiritual, ethical, material, I am the very model of today's religious liberal. Latest language, God is never Father or the Lord, but ground of being, source of life, or almost any other word. I never pray, I meditate, I'm leery about worshiping. I serve on 10 committees, none of which accomplish anything. I give to worthy causes and I drive a gas-conserving car. I have fine UU principles, although I'm not sure what they are. I'm open to opinions of profound and broad variety, unless they're too conservative or smack of righteous piety. Can formulate agendas and discuss them with the best of them, but don't ask me to implement, I leave that to the rest of them. In short, in matter spiritual, ethical, material, I am the very model of today's religious liberal.
Oh, good morning. You caught me reading the Sunday paper. Now, it's the first time in a few months that I've been able to show you a Sunday paper on Sunday morning. You see, today UUCNH is taking its first step in returning to live services. Now, since April, our services have been 100% recorded on the previous Thursday and edited for YouTube by me, Don Nelson, and Nancy Kepner. Today, most of what you see will also have been previously recorded as well, except for Reverend Jane's reflection, which is going to be live. I'm here this morning to give thanks to the craft group, tremendous thanks to the craft group, for donating the camera, which we are now using and will continue to use for recording and live streaming. And we also want to give a special thank you to Mark Dre, who donated his time and a lot of computer equipment that allows us to use the camera. So thank you again to the Craft Group and Mark Dre for your most generous contributions to the future of UU CNH services. And now, to disinfect, so no viruses are live.
So we're live. How exciting. And thanks again to the Craft Group and to Mark Dre for all they've done to make this possible. So, have you ever known anyone who grew up feeling like they were really blue when everyone thought they were red? Like their inside identity didn't match their outside? Or have you met someone who didn't want to be an either or a this or that, a male or female? Or perhaps you yourself feel this way. Since this congregation became a welcoming congregation in 2003, a lot has changed in relation to issues around gender and sexuality. Even the older gay and lesbian movements are changing to allow for more diverse voices from the more marginalized trans community and Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities. We have new words to learn that weren't widespread in 2003. Words like cisgender, which is those of us who identify as the sex we were born with, the opposite of transgender. It is helpful to tell people what pronouns you prefer, as not everybody is a he or she anymore, and others might not know what best fits your true inner identity. And it helps when everyone shares their preferred pronouns so that the trans or non-binary folk aren't singled out. In the Croton-on-Hudson congregation I served, there are a number of people who identify as transgender, genderqueer, non-binary, intersex, or questioning. Some are current members, including a past president, and some are offspring of active members who grew up in the church. I'm also seeing a lot of our Unitarian Universalist ministers lately are identifying in this gray area between the strict categories of male and female. For instance, many of you might know Reverend Sunshine Wolf, our UUA regional staff contact. Reverend Sunshine uses they and them pronouns, and also the less common je and jer. Reverend Elizabeth Mount in our UU Church in Indiana, Pennsylvania, uses they and them pronouns. It's a challenge to remember to use their preferred pronouns, as it's a new way of speaking that's unfamiliar. But it's important that we make the effort so that people with varying gender expressions feel welcomed, understood, and accepted. As Unitarian Universalists, we are all about justice. We covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and many of us want to change that to every living being. As long as there are people or other creatures who are not safe from human harm, as long as any are not able to express themselves as they are, as long as any are not getting their basic needs met because of structures of society that can be changed, as long as there are past injustices that need to be healed, as long as these are the case, the work of healing and seeking understanding and justice is ours to do. Rachel Smart will next share what is actually planned for us to renew our commitment to welcoming all, regardless of people's gender expression or who they love. And Erin Teresi will share why it is important to her as a pansexual member of this congregation. Let's be sure that all the crayons here in our community now and those yet to come feel our warm embrace of their colors, whatever they may be. May we honor all the colors and even fly a rainbow flag proudly, symbol of the unconditional welcome people receive when they come through our doors, whether virtual or physical. May it be so. Amen.
Hi, my name is Rachel Smart. I am a co-chair of the Compassionate Service Team and a member of TRUUE Colors. TRUUE Colors, you say? What's that? Well, aside from being one of my favorite Cyndi Lauper songs, it is a new church group formed in the fall of 2019 with the intention of having a group that is dedicated to issues of LGBTQ+ visibility and welcome within our congregation. The group will also guide the process of meeting the annual welcoming practices for our congregation, which I will be telling you more about in a moment. But first, a little background. So, as Reverend Jane just talked about, UUCNH became a welcoming congregation in 2003. But then what? Well, the UUA previously suggested that congregations renew their welcoming status every 5 years in order to refresh their programming and bring new issues to the attention of their congregation. However, many welcoming congregations confess to not having updated or renewed their LGBTQ+ programs or outreach since their initial enrollment in the program. Despite the fact that transgender UUs are still struggling to find community in UU congregations. Bisexual UUs often suffer from invisibility, and asexual, intersex, and polyamorous UUs have yet to have their privilege lifted up within our progressive faith. These and other social ills that plague our communities are calling us into a deeper commitment to ensure that our Unitarian Universalist congregations are living the welcome that we proclaim. As such, in 2018, the UUA unveiled the 5 practices of welcome renewal to provide regular practices and annual benchmarks that every congregation should integrate into their congregational life in order to ensure that lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, asexual, two-spirit, genderqueer, non-binary folk, and the like feel fully welcomed, centered, and embraced in our Unitarian Universalist congregations. Moving forward, welcoming congregations will be required to meet these benchmarks annually in order to remain current as a welcoming congregation. These practices are as follows. Practice number 1, become a welcoming congregation. This one is not actually an annual practice. This one we accomplished in 2003. Yay, UUCNH! Practice number 2, welcoming worship services. This means that we will include welcoming worship services into our ordinary calendar of worship every year. This could include a Sunday service, such as October 4th, 2020. It could include an LGBTQ marriage ceremony, a naming ritual, or a remembrance ceremony. Practice number 3, welcoming days of observance. This involves an annual recognition and welcome and celebration of welcoming days of observance. These days and seasons are important to the LGBTQ+ communities because they bring visibility and affirmation after generations of invisibility and erasure. These days remind all that all of who you are is sacred. All of who you are is welcome. TRUUE Colors has already selected the days that we will be observing for this church year. They include International Pronouns Day in October, World AIDS Day in December, Transgender Day of Visibility in March, Day of Silence in April, Pansexual and Panromantic Visibility Day in May, and Marriage Equality Day in June. Practice number 4, welcoming religious education. This is an annual opportunity for our congregation to experience a welcoming congregation module. Each year, the UUA will offer at least one welcoming webinar engaging LGBTQ+ issues and topics. We may also choose to sponsor a local seminar for participation by our congregation and the surrounding community. And finally, practice number 5, support a welcoming project. To support a welcoming project means to make a donation to a local or national organization, campaign, or project that uplifts the dignity of LGBTQ+ communities. Previously, UUCNH has made donations to organizations such as Proud Haven, Sisters Pittsburgh, and Dreams of Hope. So that's the 5 welcoming practices in a nutshell. You will be hearing more about them as the church year goes on. We hope that over time, these practices will provide you all with some new insight into topics and issues that you previously haven't considered, inspire you to take action toward a more just and caring world, and encourage you to fully welcome and embrace people of all sexual orientations and gender identities into our loving community. TRUUE Colors welcomes any and all church members and friends who would like to participate in our meetings and planning of events. So, if you are interested in joining us, please reach out via the church's community Facebook group or contact the church office to get on our group's email list. Thank you and have a great day.
Why our welcoming renewal is important to me and my family. Hello. If any of you don't know, my name is Erin Terizzi. I am talking as a member of TRUUE Colors. To explain why our welcoming renewal is important to me, I have to share a little bit of my story. I grew up in a very Catholic household. While my parents are, and were, progressive to a point, the religion I was raised in was not. My father, while raised Methodist, went to seminary and preached for Church of God churches. He is a college librarian now with a specialty in theology. He married my Irish, Polish, born and bred Catholic mother. My mother has worked in the Catholic Church even before I was born. I have heard stories of the fact that I was a kicker when my mom was pregnant with me, which scared all of her all-male 7th and 8th grade Catholic school health class. When my mom would double over, she remembers the sound of chairs backing up and boys yelling, "Not here, Mrs. Mall." A few years later, once my brother was born and we had moved states, I can remember the whole family going to church each week and my father officially joining the Catholic Church when I was in the 3rd grade. Luckily, as I said, my parents are progressive. My brother and I were taught the value of other Catholic cultures, like those in South America and Africa. When we were also taught about other religions, especially Judaism and Islam, to see that we had commonalities. When I questioned my Catholicism, my parents would not just brush my questions aside, but would answer them without propaganda. When I started to question my sexuality, however, I hid it from my parents. I knew that they had gay friends, but I knew that my lifestyle would not be accepted in their church. As I came to accept myself as I was, I found myself moving further away from Catholicism and Christianity. The hardest thing to admit to my parents was not that I wasn't straight, but that I didn't believe in a God. After not going to church in college, I began to feel the need to be in community that had been previously filled by the Catholic Church. I found myself church hopping from a Community United Church of Christ to a very New Agey Crystals Healing Church. The parishioners of the New Age Church were very nice, and after my first service, asked how I'd liked it. And while I admitted that certain parts of the service were nice, that it really wasn't for me, that I was looking for a community of liberal, science-based religion, if there was such a thing. The parishioners all looked at each other and nodded. I was simply at the wrong church. I was looking for Unitarian Universalism. So they gave me the directions. In another 2 weeks, I attended my first UU service. My mind was opened to this new way of thinking. My first UU minister was an atheist. At my church, there was a large population of Wiccans. I sat next to spiritualists and lapsed Catholics and Buddhists. Even though our core was different, we came together to celebrate life and the connectedness of all things. The most important aspect was that our new church recognized me for me and didn't shy away or try to change me. I could be honest about being pansexual. I took Amy to the UU church, and we could exist as a couple together in this church. When we decided that we wanted to get married, it wasn't legal yet in Pennsylvania. Our UU minister of Erie worked with us to ensure that we would have a legal marriage in New York before saying our vows in front of our family and friends in Erie. Amy and I were thinking that we'd just sign paperwork to make it legal in the parking lot of the courthouse just over the New York border. However, our minister had a mini ceremony on a pier in the small town of Barcelona, New York, that impacted the small group who came. When we moved to this church about 6 years ago, we felt at home here. We were pleased to see that you were also a welcoming congregation. However, you had become a welcoming congregation long before we had come to this church, and even before I knew what Unitarian Universalism was. The words, terms, and phrases have changed over time for the LGBTQIA+ population, and UUCNH as a whole felt that it was a little behind the times. I want this church to be relevant for me in the future. I want to share my story, as well as other people from other cultures and backgrounds. Even though this church is largely white, cisgendered, and heterosexual, I want diverse guests and friends and possible new members to feel just as welcome as we felt 6 years ago. If the universe aligns and we're finally able to adopt children, I want their stories to be told in this church as well. Amy and I have decided that we are very open to the idea of having a non-binary or transgender child. We want our church to be ready to accept them for who they are and not get confused by terminology. This is why our welcoming status is important to me. Thank you.
Our closing hymn is We'll Build a Land, number 121 in the Gray Hymnal.
Build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land, can we? Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and will give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come, build a land where the Mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my people we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever flowing stream.
We know that our financial contributions to this congregation come from sacrifice and hard work. We are so grateful for this and commit together to ensure the funds we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than they could have done alone. The October Share the Plate recipient is HEARTH, which stands for Homeless Ends with Advocacy, Resources, Training, and Housing. The mission of HEARTH is to provide both transitional and permanent housing for families experiencing homelessness. In particular, HEARTH focuses on women and their children who are escaping domestic abuse situations. To donate, please mail a check to the church office by October 23rd with Share the Plate or HEARTH in the memo line. Or you can go to the church website's donation page and select Offerings. Include the word Share the Plate or HEARTH when making the donation. May we give today in love and in hope.
Please join me in the dedication of the offering. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith.
The chalice is extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of us. Let us carry the flame with us and share it with those we know, with those we love, and most especially with those we have yet to meet. By Brian Keeley. And may it be so. Go in peace. Be sure and join us for coffee hour.